Here we are, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube watchers, children, adults, mum, dad, aunties, cousins, sisters, once removed, third, come down from the roof and do a little loop around the garden. It is the last ups and downs of 2019, and boy howdy, WWE must have known that, because they gave us a closing segment that has literally caused the internet to melt down, and I've got a lot to say about it, but I'm going to wait to the end of the video, because that's just how things work. But my name is Simon Miller. Thank you very much for joining me over these last 12 months. Get that finger of power ready. Look at it go. Can't control it. Let's up those downs for the last Raw of the damn decade. Cue the guy in the comments. It's not actually the decade. Go get a job. Kevin Owens started Raw, and do you know what he said? Or at least I'm paraphrasing, I can't remember the exact sentence, but he said, "You want to know why things are about to get rough around here? Here's why," and he rolled a video clip. Kevin Owens, my man, I'm a huge fan of you, and I really appreciate you're watching my Why series. Obviously, he does not, and he just said something that sounds a lot like the things that I say, but I'm such a nerd, I liked it. Give Kevin Owens and this entire segment it up. Firstly, I just like that KO is now the guy that WWE will go to open Raw, because it means he's being treated like a top star. Now, I know what he said here was absolutely nonsense. He was all like, yo, AOP and Seth Rollins. Apparently Kevin Owens is from New York in my universe. He was like, yo, KOP and Seth Rollins, you keep beating me up, but I'm going to try and keep beating you up in the hope that I take one of you down, even though I know you're going to keep beating me up. I mean, it's not the smartest thing in the world, but again, just got all the love for the big KO. He's also mad that Rollins and his crew took out Rey Mysterio, and that's also how WWE justified the fact that Andrade had won the US Championship at that house show that they did at Madison Square Garden. And I like that. If you don't know, I will tell you, house show numbers and attendance and revenue is kind of in the toilet at the moment, and this is a great way to hopefully spark more interest in those kind of events, because you never know what's going to happen. And it actually tied into story stuff here on Monday nights. Round of applause all round, because WWE does this again later. Sooner or later, Seth came out, and you know why, because this is Raw. You're probably looking at your watch going, I'm going to give it 2 minutes until Seth Rollins and the Authors of Pain interrupt this, which is exactly what they did do. And Seth Rollins is now like pretending he's a martyr. He's like, Kevin, you don't understand. I'm doing this for the greater good. If it wasn't for me, Raw would like die on its ass. I have absolutely no idea what he was talking about, but I do like this new character shift for Seth Rollins, and that's why he gets a pass. Eventually, Owens went after them all, and of course, as we've already established, he got his ass whooped, but now he's got a friend indeed, because he is a friend in need. So do you know who came out from the back to assist Mr. Owens? It was the returning Samoa Joe. I flipping love Samoa Joe. He just went nuts and beat the hell out of everybody, and even when the numbers games got too much with him, KO was then back, and he was smacking everyone with a chair. He was also climbing up on the ropes and diving onto everybody, because at this point, a bunch of security guys had come out to try and break up this fracas. I saw a bunch of internet people going, this is so stupid, it's so convoluted. A man dove from the top rope of the ring into a sea of people. Now, I know that's as safe as it can get, but there is still an element of danger there. Don't be that person. This is how you build babyfaces. One, there's an actual reason why they would be alive. They both come across like badasses, and even when they were being shooed out of the building, they wouldn't be intimidated. So I have a reason to care for these people and look at them and go, oh, one day I want to be just like you. Even though I'm not from Canada, and I'm not from Samoa, I lose. Also, they say cool shit about fingers, and you know how I feel about fingers. I don't even control mine. Good stuff. Alistair Black and Buddy Murphy then went 2 for 2 in terms of great matches. Give it up. We know they did this at TLC, and this one may have been even better still. I will let you have that argument in the comments. I think the greatest thing about these two is that they don't give a fiddlestick about just kicking the absolute shit out of each other. I mean, they were punching, they were kicking, and it didn't look like they were holding back at all. And the really excellent thing is that when this began, the fans in the crowd, well, they weren't that into it. I think they thought, oh, we'll sit down and we'll see what happens. But Buddy Murphy and Alistair Black put on such a good performance that as they built to the finish, as they built to their crescendo, I think everybody who was in the venue that night was like, who cares, man? Let's just go along for this wild ride. They won them over. Pretty damn even as well. At one point, Buddy Murphy was hitting a knee strike, but Alistair Black retorted from that by smashing him with a brain buster. And this was the same when we did get get to the closing moments, because clearly Alistair Black and Buddy Murphy have both been watching a lot of WWE TV, because Buddy Murphy, he tried to surprise roll up Black, he was like, no, screw that, I've been working on my legs, I've been doing my squats. He kicked out, and then he used those quadriceps, and he used those hamstring muscles, and he didn't just give Buddy Murphy one black mass, he gave him a second. It was like a sniper rifle just went and shot Buddy right in the head. And Alistair Black goes 2-0 over his now rival. But look, let me reiterate, these are so much fun, and they're so entertaining, and they're so enjoyable. You can keep doing this, WWE. Book them in a damn best of 7. I would be fine with it. All you need to do is tell the right story and keep me invested, and I will keep hurling money right into your face. I absolutely love this. Rollins and AOP then revealed they'd been asked to leave the building, and Seth just laughed about this, which made me go, man, if Seth Rollins ever does a stand-up comedy show, I'm never going to go. What's he going to do? Come out and go, hey guys, one day I got asked to leave a building. I just stand there going, this is terrible. This is terrible comedy. We then got a big warning sign about what was going to happen later on, because Lana was backstage getting ready for her big wedding when Eric Rowan and his cage approached, and he was like, Lana, hun, where's my invite for your wedding? I don't remember receiving mine in the post. And then he went without even thinking about it. I guess he was, I don't know, distracted by recycling. Went, oh, I don't even care. And then he got right in Lana's face. I'm not joking here. This is what he did. He went, bruh. Eric, I know why you don't get invited to people's weddings. We also learned at this point, as I insinuated earlier, that Randy Orton had also got injured at a recent house show, and he was going to address that later. Spoiler, flipping rocks. And now, my friends, we have reached Last Chance Saloon. If you do watch Ups and Downs every week, you know that I gave WWE a pass until 2020 in January before I gave an up or a down to everything with Eric Rowan and his cage, which sounds like a new cartoon on the Nickelodeon network. But it was the same thing again for the 87,242nd time. Eric Rowan came out, he protected his cage, he beat a jobber, and then he left with that stupid cage. So next week on Raw, WWE, you have to reveal what's in that damn thing. Otherwise, I'm gonna start giving you a down. I know you're quaking in your boots about that, but I've been fair and I've given you the necessary, well, warning. Lana was then backstage again, applying some lotion to her legs. If only this is where it ended. Charlotte Flair then made me laugh out loud. She's funnier than Seth Rollins. Down. For you see, she came to the ring and announced that she was the first competitor, the first participant in the Women's Royal Rumble that is going to go down in but a few weeks. But she then started comparing that to other accolades that she'd achieved. So she's like, I'm a 10-time women's champion. I'm main event in WrestleMania. I'm in the Royal Rumble, the first woman in the Royal Rumble in 2020, the first man in the Royal Rumble in 2020. What are you talking about, Charlotte Flair? That's like me winning a YouTube award and coming on here and going, guys, I won a YouTube Slammy, I don't know what they call it, a YouTube UE. Also, I then went for a piss. You're like, those two things don't connect. She also has no idea whether she's a heel or face. Charlotte Flair is such a confusing character. She issued an open challenge. Natalya came out. Oh my days. Don't get me wrong, that was fine and I kind of enjoyed it, even though it did go a little bit too long, but it was just there for the sake of it, and you knew that to be true, because halfway through R-Truth and the chasing jabronis just ran out, they circled the ring, and then they ran away. I think we either need to come up with new ideas for the 27 championship, or we just gotta kill it dead. The Becky Lynch promo though, like most weeks, was good. Up. It was nice and simple. She won't even get into contract negotiations with WWE because her recent deal is coming due until she has beat Asuka, which she's gonna do at the Royal Rumble because that match is now official. I can understand that. I can get into it. She can't even look to the future because Asuka is causing her so many problems in the present. You can explain that story in 4 seconds like I just did. Maybe something to take on board WWE. We then saw Bobby Lashley also getting ready for his wedding, and following that was another promo video for Liv Morgan. And boy, howdy do I wish that those two things weren't connected. But as we were going to find out in around about 90 minutes, they most definitely were. The OC were then out to remind us that they rule Raw. That bit, as well as the match they were about to have, well, that gets it up. However, the whole idea was that while they were singing their praises, they were interrupted by the Street Profits. And I may be alone here, and please come and tell me, Miller, you're a bald asshole. You don't know what you're talking about. But I really like the Street Profits. They feel new, they feel fresh, they feel exciting. But some of the scripts they are given, they're just bad. I mean, they are just bad. It makes them come across like children. Like here, Montez Ford was going to say the word ass, and Dawkins was like, no, don't say ass. We're going to get fired. I saw Kevin Owens say the word on TV a few weeks ago. He didn't care, so why do you? I think we need to come up with something new for the Street Profits. They then did clash with Gallows and Anderson, and like I've already said, that was kind of good. AJ Styles have been kicked out of there within about a minute because he kept making a nuisance of himself, and eventually Ford hit the big splash, which means the Street Profits got the 1, 2, 3, and as we then found out later, put themselves in a triple threat match for the Raw Tag Team titles, because next week on Raw, the first one of 2020, is the Viking Raiders versus Gallows and Anderson versus the Street Profits, and hopefully that can be really good. Let's give it time, maybe do a belt change, actually start to build some stories, we can start building the tag division back up. So I remain cautiously optimistic. But yeah, it's the Street Profits. Like, even after this, the Street Profits were backstage and they were doing more shtick. And again, who is writing this stuff? I mean, at one point it seemed like they just completely forgot what they were meant to say. And I'm not surprised, because when they're reading it, they're probably like, oh man, it's going to be a bad day at the office. Just let them talk. It's quite clear both of them can do that. Let them fly like birds. Drew McIntyre then destroyed Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins in an official match, as opposed to last week where he beat Zack Ryder in an official match and he beat Kurt Hawkins up, because why not? He just so happened to be there. He hit Kurt Hawkins with the DDT, he hit Zack Ryder with the Claymore kick. Actually, that may have been the other way around, don't worry about it. He then dumped Kurt Hawkins on top of Zack Ryder, stood on him, and he got the pin. Now, I do hope that we push Drew in the new year, but this did nothing for Zack, this did nothing for Kurt. They absolutely did. And I also don't understand why now McIntyre is like Comedy Boy Brown. He's all like going, oh, I'm Drew McIntyre, I'm having some fun, let's do a poll with the audience. Thought he was a Scottish psychopath, and now he's just doing a funny jig. Down. Everything with Randy Orton, though, was absolutely brilliant. Give it up. It all tied into this injury that had supposedly happened to him when he was taking on AJ Styles on a house show over the weekend, and they did such a good job of this, nearly every single wrestling outlet reported on it like Orton was actually in some trouble. And because of that, when you were coming into this, you were like, well, I'm 99% sure I am being worked, but as I'm not 100% sure, I'm more interested. Also, fair play to WWE, more round of applause. I like being worked, I'm a wrestling fan, I don't get insulted. The Viper came out on crutches to really sell this, and he even invoked the tone of so many others who have done this before him. So he was like, my career may be over, I don't know whether I'm gonna make WrestleMania, my life is changing, I've been crying every single day, I don't know whether to breathe, I don't know whether to live, I don't know whether to eat chocolate, I don't know whether to eat some chicken. It was just so good, I liked it, even though you kind of knew where it was going to go. Randy Orton even mentioned Edge, because you remember Edge had to retire through injury. Straight away, you know, the internet went to speculation meltdown, but all of this was exceptionally well done. And then do you know who came out to call him an asshole? AJ frickin' Styles. He got right in Orton's face and he was bullying him. At one point he kicked one of his crutches away and he was like, you know what? I am a nice guy deep down. I'll be patient, but you better get back for WrestleMania, because when we get there, I am gonna absolutely beat the hell out of you. And Orton was like, okay, dude, okay, but you know what? I'm not that patient. He threw the other crutch away. He gave AJ Styles the RKO. And even though you could see it coming from a mile away, I still jumped off my sofa and I did a little dance because I was just so pleased what had happened. The crowd popped massively, so did I, as I've just mentioned. And again, this is the theme of this episode of Ups and Downs and of Raw in general. Just keep things simple, keep things nice. It allows us to buy in so much easier. And now I'm even more invested in this Randy Orton AJ Styles feud. You don't have to overthink it. Andrade was out next, and I was excited because I think finally 2020 could be his year. But how we got to where we needed to get to with him on this evening, well, that's getting it down. Basically began with Andrade taking on some jobber, and rather than beating him to establish that he is a great US champion, he instead took him to the outside. He exposed the concrete again by removing one of the mats, and he was going to slam this guy's head into that until Ricochet came out to make the save. And Ricochet's explanation for this was, well, you beat up Humberto Carrillo, you beat up Rey Mysterio, and then you're beating up that guy. So for my friend Humberto, and for my friend Rey, and for this guy, I challenge you to a match because I want to evoke some revenge. I mean, that is really, 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 really bizarre. Just this guy, the hero of Raw. Surprisingly though, that clash was great. Up. It focused around the concrete floor again, which at one point Ricochet did get back body dropped into, but you already know how this went down, and it was all because of Zelina Vega. That damn Zelina Vega who keeps getting involved, because Ricky Boy was up on the top rope at one point, the referee wasn't looking, she pushed him off. That allowed Andrade to hit the hammerlock DDT, and he retains his championship. Now, I know this made Ricochet look a bit like a dork, but here's the thing, we've talked about this time and time again here on Ups and Downs. You gotta pick and choose sometimes with your superstar. So if now is the time to push Andrade, let's push him and let's let him bulldoze through whoever he has to bulldoze, and then soon, don't forget about Ricochet, you gotta go back and you gotta rehab him too. Otherwise, you just get that 50-50 nonsense and you're gonna get to the middle of 2020 and everybody's gonna be in the same place. We need some people to break through that mid-card, and if Andrade is the chosen one, then hell yeah, I am on board. And he's going to face Rey Mysterio next week. After this, Rey Mysterio's like, oh, Andrade, I'm mad at you. I've got my hood up because I'm just so enraged. It's National Hood Week, you remember that. But I will beat you. And if Andrade now beats him in a good match, we're on our way to the races. You see, Andrade also cut a promo here establishing the same thing. And I say WWE, you let Andrade win, otherwise I'm coming after you. Which brought us to our main event angle, which did go on for 30 frickin' minutes. And it was the wedding of the year between Bobby Lashley and Lana. And let's establish a few statements first. 1, was this trash TV? Yes, it was. 2, was it unintentionally hilarious at some points? Yes, it was. 3, would this have actually been quite fun if it wasn't for one big reveal towards the end? Yes, but that's not how these things work. Take that finger, point it to the ground. It's getting it down. Let's just get through it, because for starters, Bobby Lashley came out wearing a vest. I guess because he had to show off his pectoral definition as he was getting wed. And honestly, the stuff the vicar was saying went on for so long. It went on for even longer than Lashley and Lana kissing, which they did here once more around about 20% through the damn thing. For some reason, Lana decided, hey Lashley, I want to bone you. And she actually said that, not bone, but that was her point. And like I said, they just start making out. Who makes out for this long? It then became ludicrous. I'm not saying at this point it wasn't entertaining on some level, because it was. But the vicar did the whole, come out if you have a protest to this marriage. That's not what they say, but you know what I'm talking about. And Lana's first husband was there for absolutely no reason. And then Bobby Lashley's first wife was there for absolutely no reason. And at this point, I realized on the stage was the world's biggest wedding cake. And it was so gargantuan, it was so huge, you just looked at it and you went, Rusev's in it. Because it was a human-sized cake, and Rusev is a human-sized human. It begs the question, who the hell was in charge of Lana's organization? Because anybody would look at this baked good and go, I think anyone could make a cake that big. We should probably look at it. Oh wait, it's plastic, and there's a man hiding in there. I mean, if you couldn't work that out, well, you deserve to have this wedding ruined for you. Before we did get to Ruru revealing himself, though, we have to talk about that bit. And yes, if you've seen it, you already know what I'm going on about it. Because we did have a third interruption, and it was the returning Liv Morgan, who for some reason came out dressed like Harvey Two-Face. Like she had half a suit, and if you ever watch the Batman cartoons, that's how Harvey Two-Face dresses. But given that WWE has been behind her new character a lot with all these videos, you had every right to be excited. But as it turned out, her new role was to walk down the ramp and insinuate that this wedding shouldn't go ahead because somebody in that ring was the love of her life and she wasn't allowed to let this go ahead. Now, you were supposed to presume that was Bobby Lashley, and Bobby Lashley reacted to this like he just found out that Lana was his own mother and he was about to wed his own flesh and blood. But of course, this is WWE, and as it turned out, Liv Morgan was in love and apparently has been having a relationship with Lana, so yes, she is a lesbian. Now here is the issue, or at least my issue with it. 1, WWE treated this like some kind of shock angle, and in 2019, or any year really, being gay should not come across as a shock. If you're gay, okay. If you're not gay, okay, you choose your sexuality, and that should be that. Because you are allowed to be gay, and really we need to get to a point in this world where it's not even a big deal. Some people are, some people aren't, but we just get on with our lives, and you also let other people live theirs. The second part of all of this is that over on SmackDown, you have an openly gay wrestler. Her name is Sonya Deville, and as I've said on Ups and Downs for SmackDown time and time again, she deserves some kind of push, but she get absolutely nothing, who has gone to management over and over, apparently, and said, look, I'd like to work with you to come up with a storyline about sexuality and about gay people, and has been told, no, we don't want to do that. Yet over on Raw, well, we're doing this. And in my gut, in my brain, it just feels like this is exactly why, if you are young, you're not watching wrestling, it feels really, really behind the times. It also took away from the reaction of Rusev coming out of the human-sized cake, because nobody cared about that then. They were all focused on what had come before. And if you are interested, Rusev then beat up Bobby Lashley. Liv Morgan came back and she beat up Lana after Lana had absolutely whooped the crap out of her a few minutes earlier. And she also took Lana's head and hit her into the cake, and she bounced off it, because that cake was made out of wood. I mean, it was so dumb. And sure, don't get me wrong, I get it. In a way, it is awesome. The last Raw of 2019, the last Raw of the decade, not the decade, ended with Liv Morgan and Rusev. I mean, who saw that coming? But it's all about execution, and it's all about doing things in the right way. I don't think this is going to serve them down the line. I think there's going to be a big glass ceiling that they're going to smash into soon. And again, I've made my thoughts and feelings very clear about what it means when it comes to sexuality. And look, if you enjoyed it, that's cool. I'm just giving you my opinions. We're kind of walking on serious topics here. And when serious topics crop up, I will put on my serious hat and I will be serious. Which means it's it, we're done. That is the last ups and downs for 2019. It means the world that you stuck with me for 12 months, and I do hope to see your face again in 2020. Also, it pains me to get my spinny arrow and give the last Raw of 2019 a down. And again, that wedding would have been fine, but you gotta handle stuff like that better. You just do if you want to move forward as a company and you want to evolve. This feels like something we'd have done in the Attitude Era, and go and watch some of the Attitude Era stuff now. It is not cool. That's just my 2 cents. The bald asshole has spoken. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about all of this, although I know most of it is going to be a bunch of arguments about things what I've said. That's cool. Let's just try and be friends. Like, share, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles, follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE. Watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on Thursday when AEW gets back to business, and I'll see you at the weekend, and we see what goes down on Snackerdown.